Let's flip to this other matter, which is also a challenge before the country. But we had Mr. Falana, and this is what he said about it.
As an institution, has no business whatsoever in the maintenance of internal security in our country.
But we've seen lately...
No. Please, it is very illegal and unconstitutional for the Chief of Army Staff or the Chief of Defense Staff to be threatening civilians in our country. We're not under a military dictatorship, by the way. It is the business of the police to maintain law and order in our country. It is only when the role of the military, armed forces under the Constitution, Section 217, right, is to protect the territorial integrity of the country. You defend the country against external aggression. But you don't ask a soldier to go and monitor a polling booth or to go and arrest a criminal suspect. The Nigerian army that killed and buried secretly the dead bodies of 347 people in December last year can have the temerity, right, to be telling us and teaching us how to protect life and property in Enugu State. Furthermore, in the particular instance, in the case of the attack on Ukpabinimbo community in Enugu State, again we have all forgotten the fact that the community alerted the governor of that state, and this is already in the public domain. The governor summoned a meeting of the Security Council in that state and gave specific instructions that community be protected. So you had information on the impending attack. The commissioner of police addressed a press conference and dismissed the whole thing as a rumor and asked everybody to go about his or her normal duty. Again, the attack took place, people were killed, properties were destroyed. What has the government done? You have merely transferred the commissioner of police to another state.
Well, there you have Mr. Falana, SAN, talking about the role of the military in the country. He did say they have no business policing the country. Do you agree with that?
For the first time, my brother Silk Falana got it wrong completely. He was citing Section 271 of the Constitution. The pertinent section he should have cited is Section 281, subsections 1, 2, 3. Because Section 271 only deals with the creation of the armed forces.
Sorry, 217, okay.
218 now says the president, as commander-in-chief, has the power under the Constitution to direct the army in operational matters. In pursuance to 218 subsection 3, Buhari now, in view of what happened, at least 2 weeks ago, he made a statement that the situation in the country is going at an alarming stage towards chaos. And he told the whole world that he was going to ask the military to come up. In pursuance of his powers under Section 218 subsection 3, he now directed the military. So it is not fair for Falana to take in isolation the statement of the Ministry of Defense. That statement has a background. In pursuance, even if you look at that section of the law, it says the president can even delegate to the army part of his powers. It's there, but he has omitted that section. Now the question is, we lawyers, we say facts are sacred. You do not take an issue in isolation and apply the law. You have to give it a holistic, you have to look at events that created the situation. He is talking on the situation that the army has made a statement, but he's not looking at what has caused that statement, whether under the law they have the right so to do. As I pointed out to you, Section 218 subsection 3 says the president can direct operations and ask the army to do at any time. Also, he can even delegate this power to the army to do whatever he directs them.
But in all of those, I mean, if it now becomes a norm, even without directives, because I think he alluded to that, wherein they now begin to issue statements that ordinarily people have the impression that yes, it's now the military performing policing functions. He says that is to the detriment of police. We should be focusing on how to strengthen the police and not just all the time calling on the military to perform those primary functions.
Okay, let us look at the scenario. 3 months ago, we were told the refineries, 2 of the refineries have started producing petroleum products. We were happy. 3 months ago, the generation of electricity rose from 3 to 5. All of a sudden, this sabotage started. Now electricity generation is about 1.8 or 2. There is no fuel to be, These are the antecedents. The spate of kidnapping in Nigeria today has not only left the normal domain in eastern Nigeria where it has crept into Ekiti State, Ogun State. So the president cannot, because security is the fundamental duty of every government. Without security, you and I can't be here. Without security, I will not be able to go to court. So security is fundamental. And the police have consistently said we are incapable because the type of guns these militants have, or these kidnappers, or these Fulani herdsmen, the guns they carry, we do not have such sophisticated guns. And we have to curb these excesses. So under the Constitution, backed by that Constitution, the president says, look, I will now ask the army. The army naturally will not make statements during a civilian regime, except if the powers were delegated to them by Mr. President. And we have seen in the Constitution. So the army is doing what the commander-in-chief has asked them to do.
But the other aspect of that is, for instance, yes, we've seen these cases play themselves out, but when it becomes a regular feature, how do we address that? Because the policing have also said, look, we need more capacity. We haven't seen any of those herdsmen with AK-47 arrested and handed over to the police, which is part of the matters or issues that also come up. But if you're directing that to happen, we need to begin to see results in those areas, but we haven't.
But you have never complained during the Boko Haram insurgency when the military were making statements that they should not make statements, without clearance or anything like that, because the situation warrants it.
Even if there was clear directive from the president at the time.
Yes, said go and fight this insurrection. And they give a bulletin, they make press conferences, we are all aware of it. Nobody has raised any eyebrow. Why should it be now that they are making a statement? They've made over 20 statements within the past 12 months, the military.
But again, if you look at it, I think the why now may also be because of what we've seen. Don't forget, Chimel just reminded us that first the police is saying that they need more men, and even though before that asking, the president had already said they should go ahead and employ about 10,000, which most people just realize that is insufficient. And we're looking at the excesses, the alleged excesses. First is the killing and burial in a mass grave of some other people in Kaduna State and a couple of other places where they have gone. And that is why Nigerians are saying, wait a minute, perhaps the civil security unit, which is the police, would have been better if we had allowed them take over their constitutional role in the first place.
Well, different diseases, can be treated in different ways. You are not happy at what is going on in Nigeria. If you are true to your conscience, the spate of kidnapping, the bombing of pipelines and gas lines, it affects the common man in the street. I don't enjoy asking my driver to go and fill the tank of my car and he will not come back for the next 14 hours, queuing to buy petrol. And the time we were seeing the green light in the tunnel, these boys again came in the name of militancy. It is not militancy. This is sabotage. And if I may even say it, sabotage not from the militancy generals, but from interested party in Nigeria today who don't want us to have electricity generated, who have vested interest in selling generators. And the day we start having constant light in Nigeria, the generators go one side. So there are many vested interests that can trigger up this sabotage. The police, I agree, should be allowed. But the Constitution says, under that section 283, not 217 that Falana is mentioning, that situations that arise as they have arisen now, the president has the power to ask the military to go and intervene. So the police, I agree, is their normal function, but they are incapacitated, as you said. Lack of ammunition, lack of men. Do we allow the sabotage to go on?